at a much broader scale, micro level?
So for a company, the opportunity is that when I want to scale as a business, I currently need to upload the formula of my business into non-networked human brains. And that upload is incredibly difficult because it takes too long and the effectiveness is low. So human beings are poor at scaling for me. What now I can do is I can rather capture my digital formula, my sales formula, my service formula into a digital intelligence format that can be contextual and rather so the consistency of my formula can be scaled digitally, and then I can look at human beings as in fact my differentiator as opposed to a liability. And that's quite exciting for me. Is currently human beings are not differentiators. They're a scale problem. They actually limit my ability to scale. Whereas if I can see the different sales teams that I have as fundamentally the way I differentiate, my formula is non-differentiating, because as soon as a competitor captures a similar formula, it can scale equally as quickly as I can. Human beings then become the way I differentiate. And so that's going to be an interesting change for organizations. Is they've tried to mitigate human involvement because it adds risk to their formula. I see in future human beings becoming an opportunity to fundamentally differentiate. And so then the culture of my company, the values, the way I unlock my human capabilities become my differentiator. And that's something that is going to fundamentally change at a company level. At a macro level, we're going to have to redefine, in my view, the role of how we perceive humanity. Humanity has, in a lot of economic systems, people are seen purely as a form of mechanization of value. The way I can extract value is to use human beings as robots to extract that value. And therefore, I view people very much in a mechanistic way. Whereas in society, going forward, it's going to actually say, well, the role of people isn't to replicate. So where do I get value from people? Well, it actually is going to start moving into each individual starts adding massive value rather than a collective. And my ability to unlock the insights and the new value that human beings derive becomes hugely important from a society. And I think that's quite exciting because we're going to have to modernize as societies. We're very much around compliance models. We scale as societies through law and through compliance and through formulas. And in the future, if that's done digitally through AI, and the way for example, if I break the law, I can have a digital judge that's making the decisions that currently a judge is replicating. Suddenly, my need for humanity becomes to add huge insight, to almost philosophically be able to add value, to think around principles and values, to think creatively, to think out of the box. And now that is game changing for society, because we are almost going to have to ask some fundamental questions around how do we pay for value, how do we see each other in the human system. And I think we're in for a very exciting but very turbulent shift in how our economic systems, our political systems, our social systems are structured, because currently they're structured very mechanistically and really driving, creating power structures in those that own capital and own the means for value. And I think that's going to potentially fundamentally change as AI takes over all of that replication logic.
Yeah. Very interesting. So, I mean, before the call, we had a little discussion around, Africa as a country in itself and the level of education that people have gained or obtained over time. Do you believe that with this type of technology, you can actually lift the IQ of people in order for them to participate in a new way or participate in a more valuable way?
Absolutely. So it is interesting. I'll use my own country as an example. South Africa, let's take the contact center industry. One of the things that we found in our contact center industry is that the people in our country actually have an amazing level of EQ and social intelligence. they're actually very warm. They've got a great sense of humor. They have a strong level of empathy, and they can connect. And so, but one of the challenges in our broken education system is that many of people who emerge out of our education system have really not learned the skills which I've described: memory skills, the ability to onboard formula and apply in multiple contexts. And so when someone is employed as a contact center agent for a bank, for example, they have to learn all of the banking products, the formulas, etc., and they often are limited in that ability.
True.
And so what happens is we can't scale as soon as that level. Now, if we can augment them with digital intelligence, what suddenly happens is they become far more competitive than people from developed countries who differentiated on the IQ side, but actually were potentially not nearly as advanced on the EQ side and in terms of the multicultural capabilities. So the interesting part for us is that we can, where in societies where historical education systems are failing, it actually may not be as damaging, because we could very quickly move them into giving digital intelligence that augments that, and actually accelerate their ability to focus on what they do have through just sheer life, through living in challenging times, leveraging their resilience, leveraging their multilingual capabilities, their empathy, etc. And that for me is exciting, because we could in fact turn what is currently a continent where there is a huge number of the volume of human resources that are underutilized is enormous. We could rapidly turn that resource base into something that is enormously valuable. And for me, therein lies the opportunity of augmented intelligence.
Great story, and great outlook as well. So from the aha moment that you had a couple of years ago, you created a new product. So first of all, what's the name of the product is Clever?
That's correct, yeah.
Exactly. So can you take me through the whole development cycle, not so much in terms of how it developed, but typically what were the learnings that you gained in order to come where you are today?
So our first learning was that intelligent or logic is multidimensional, and again, to try and pattern logic. So we are a prescriptive logic engine. We focus on replicating very complex logic in a consistent and compliant way. And that the aim, therefore, is to remove the need for human beings to do it. When we realized, for example, if I'm building a financial sales advisor